to the show. Everyone's expecting. If you know, then well, you know. Do as I say, not as I do. Welcome, friends, you know. Unity in all that we do. It isn't what
Operation Encore is a 501c nonprofit that is helping veterans turn into rock stars every single day. You can learn more about what Operation Encore is doing by going over to their website at www.operationencore.org. That is www.operationencore.org. If you can give them a hand, just click that little donate button or follow all of their social medias and learn exactly what they are doing to change the lives of our veterans every single day. Hey, welcome everybody to Drunk Dudes in a Gun Room, man. I am excited. I am always excited when I'm on the air. I love what I'm doing, and I hope y'all are enjoying it as well. So today we have got Jesus Mejia. He is a fitness mindset coach from the streets of LA and juvenile hall to the military. He is currently in the Army Reserve, and I always love a story where there's a win at the end and people turn around. I'm a big believer in that. So let's bring on Jesus.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Another day, man.
Yeah,
So
man. That's right.
Why don't you give everybody a little bit of background from you, man, where you grew up and kind of what brought you to the military?
Okay. So I grew up in the streets of Wilmington, California. It's in Los Angeles, the south part of Los Angeles. It's a city where, the crime rate's always high, man. It doesn't stop, there's like this little how can I say it, like a phrase that they said, that city is stuck in the 90s, because it's all you see right there, man. You take a walk down the street, everyone's wearing their baggy clothes, baggy pants, and it just over time people end up soaking in that learned behavior, and from there it just goes downhill, man. Yeah, man. So that's where I grew up at. Yeah, man.
So going through your bio, right? I see, and it's not surprising when you describe where you kind of grew up, but you kind of fell into the wrong path and into the gang life. What actually got you into that?
So over time, like from going like to middle school, all of my friends, back then I used to be a skater. I used to skate around, so I used to always be on the street skating.
Mhm.
And so I would always see people out there, getting shot, or I would, go down the street and I would see people, fucking hanging out, drinking beer, smoking weed, and doing all these illegal activities. And over time, that just became my normal. So, you're saying?
I said I get that absolutely.
Oh
That
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. So just, after seeing that, it just, after that becomes my normal, I started to, I started to soak up that learned behavior. And it just basically became a part of my life as I would, think back then with the poor mindset I had. And as I kept growing up, all of my friends started getting into gangs, and everyone started getting into a gang. So especially where I'm from, it's a small city. So it's divided into east and west. And so I would over time I would see my friends start, choosing sides and choosing sides, and it got to a point where I was the last man standing, and I was like, well, fuck, I don't want to choose a side, I'm just
Yeah.
a skater, I hang around with certain people, but it's not how it works in the street, once you hang out with certain people and individuals, regardless if you're part of the gang or not, just by hanging out with certain people, people are gonna target you like, oh, he hangs out with the West or he hangs out with the East. And unfortunately for me, because I started hanging out with the East a little bit more, I started getting jumped, and I started getting into fights. So that's when I was like, man, fuck this shit. Like now I have to pick a side. And so that's what really brought me into, the gang life right there.
Yeah, no, I completely get that. And it is, when, like you said, man, when you see that, and your life becomes, I'm not gonna say a hell, but it's a world of different rules.
Mhm.
At that point, you don't have a choice anymore. Like you said, you can either die on your own or pick a side and fight with, people you would call your brothers. So
Yeah,
that makes perfect sense, man.
yeah, yeah.
So where did the decision for the military came? What was that turning point that said, I need to do something else?
So yeah, man, like it just went in my head, man. Like I started, like after being in and out of jail, and just seeing my, it got to a point where I was fucking up so bad that my family didn't really want anything to do with me, because all
Yeah,
I knew was just, bad behavior that, because what doing right for me felt wrong, and what felt and what doing wrong felt right for me,
yeah,
so over time of me just, just, every now and then I'll be up all night. I'll be like, man, fuck, man, like I need to change my life. I need to find a way to get out of here, regardless of what the fuck the homies are gonna say, or the people that I hang out with, whatever they're gonna say. It got to a point where I'm like, I don't give a fuck anymore. It's about me. I want something better for my life, and so that's when I was like, you know what? I don't know what it was. I seen an ad, and I'm like, oh shit, the army, like hell yeah, like I like doing that. That looks cool. I mean, shooting at people, all this stuff, and I'm like, well, I mean, I'm basically already fucking doing it, so I mean,
yeah.
let's give it a go, right?
At
And then
least you're getting
I
paid for it now.
yeah. Yeah, man. And I was like, well, fuck, that looks like an easy route, and it's something that I always wanted to do. I always wanted to join the military, but like I said, it's just the gang life got in the way, especially when like how I said, when you pick a side and before you know it, you're locked up, and then now you fucked up your life with your record. And that's when I was like, man, fuck, like now I can't join the military. And then so one night I was like, you know what? I was on Instagram. I'm like, let me hit up a recruiter. Like, let me see what chances I have. I have nothing to lose. If he says no, I can, then I don't lose nothing. So one night I
Yep.
just hit him up. I hit up a recruiter, and I'm like, okay, well, let's see what he has to say. And from there, it was just like, okay, well, like let's do it. Like, and he was like, okay, that shouldn't be really much of a problem. And that's when I'm like, what the fuck? Like this whole time I could have joined. Like it was a process. Don't get me wrong. It took me like almost a year and a half to join the army. But I had to get certain tattoos removed. I had a tattoo on my neck that said 310.
Mhm.
I had three dots right here in my eye. I had a cross on my finger with like it was a gang related cross. And I had to get all these tattoos off. But at the end of the day, it was part of the sacrifice for the better life that I was going to create,
Right.
And at the end of the day, it was all worth it, man, because like now where I look at like now where I'm at right now compared to where I was 3 years ago is way different,
Yeah.
especially everything that the military taught me. It was, it was for the better, man.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And a lot of people don't realize this. When you started out, did you start out active or did you come straight into the reserves?
So I started off in the reserves.
Okay. I
Yeah.
did too. I did the same thing. So a lot of people don't know this about the
Mhm.
military, especially in the active. There's a big gang issue in the military. Um,
Oh, of course.
it's like you said, it's a great place to get training. You know, um, and that's training that you could bring back to your gangs and everything else. And it has it has been an issue to where the military don't want to talk about it, but they teach a little
Hmm.
bit about it. There's a reason why they started enforcing getting rid of all these tattoos and these symbols because there was becoming a problem in the
Hmm.
military with it. And
Yeah.
I think uh, I think it sounds like you made an amazing choice, man, because it wasn't about coming in to get training to take back the streets. It was about improving your life and potentially your family's lives. So
Yeah.
hats off to you, brother.
Hell
So
yeah.
so you came in the reserves. What MOS did you choose when you came in?
I chose 91 Bravo.
Okay.
So at first I was going to do a 11 Bravo. I was
Mhm.
gonna do 11 Bravo, 3 years contract, but my dad has a shop, and
Yep.
so right when I was going to MEPS to sign my contract, um, he got in a car crash, a really bad car crash. And so unfortunately that shop, like where my pops works at, at the time I was like his right hand man.
Hmm.
So I was like the second in charge. And you know, I couldn't just leave the business there. Like I couldn't just leave because now how's my family going to eat? How is my little brother gonna eat, my mom, how are the bills gonna get paid? So I was kind of like, fuck, man, like I did all this shit. I got my tattoos removed. I stopped talking to certain people. And then right when I was about to leave, that's when that shit happened. I'm like, fuck. So like 3 months went by and then I'm like, shit, like,
Are you ready to experience the power of military community right from the comfort of your living room? Introducing Military United podcast streams, now available on the Roku channel. Get ready to dive into a world of incredible stories, inspiring discussions, and the best entertainment the military community has to offer. With our veteran podcast host, you'll gain insights into the experiences that have shaped our heroes. And that's not all. We've got a lineup of talented veteran musicians playing rock, country, and more. Get ready to rock out with these incredible artists who have served our country and are now ready to entertain you with their soulful tunes. But wait, there's more. We've also got veteran comedians who will have you in stitches with their hilarious and relatable stories. Laughter is the best medicine, and these brave men and women know how to deliver it. So gather your loved ones, grab some popcorn, and prepare for an unforgettable journey into the world of military podcast, music, and comedy. With Military United podcast streams now on Roku, you can access all this incredible content with just a few clicks of a button. Military United podcast streams on Roku channel. It's time to honor, entertain, and celebrate the incredible men and women who have served our country. Join us today and experience the power of the military community.
at the end of the day, I was gonna come back and then I could still, do my thing there at the shop, help feed my family. And it was just, it was a win-win for me. And at the end of the day,
Yep. No, that makes perfect sense, man. And it's
yeah,
ironic because when I came in '94, and I
yeah,
came in as what they called a '63 Sierra, which was a heavy wheel
okay,
vehicle. And then,
okay,
what was it? Early 2000s, I think they
mm-hmm,
they combined everybody to '63 Bravo, which was a light wheel vehicle mechanic. And then right
mm-hmm.
before I retired, they changed us to '91 Bravo. So I kind of smiled when you said that because I can relate to it, man. That's what I
Yeah,
did for 3 years. So
hell
yeah.
yeah. Oh, so you were 91 Bravo too?
Yep.
Yeah, hell yeah.
They changed it. They changed it right there towards the end. They made everybody 91 Bravo when I first came in, if I'm not mistaken, was an
Uh-huh.
MP. That's what,
Okay.
and they changed. I don't know why they did it, but they changed a whole bunch of identifiers, and
Mm-hmm.
they made mechanics everybody 91 Bravos. So
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
yep,
that's dope, man. Hell yeah. Small ass world, bro.
yep,
That's crazy.
absolutely, man.
Oh
So
yeah, man.
where did where did the fitness and mindset coaching come from?
Oh, you said what?
I said, where did the fitness and mindset coaching comes from? Because that is a huge change from
Yeah.
where you started to where you've gotten to.
So okay, so all that started, okay, so I joined the military thinking that I was gonna be, a whole different person. I was gonna stop drinking. I was gonna, do better. And just have like the mindset that I always needed. Become the man I never had in my life, as
Okay.
I should say. Um, don't get me wrong though. As soon as I joined, I went through boot camp. I went through all that good stuff, and I did learn a lot. And it did toughen me up, and it taught me a lot of discipline. And the military showed me a whole different way of life and a whole different point of view. But there was still that problem of me drinking. Um,
Yep.
you know, I was still drinking. I was still, getting into fights. Like if someone told me something, I would get mad and I would try to control myself, but then I just couldn't. And I'll be like, man, like, you know what? Like, let's go to the bathroom or let's go to the back of the motor pool. Like, hey, dog, like,
Yep.
So I was like, fuck, man, like, there's something more that I need to change. And then that's when I started getting into fitness and nutrition and the mindset coaching. And well, first, I started off getting coached by my coach, Coach Guerrero Fitness.
Hmm.
I'm like, fuck, man, like, I went to him. I got coached. I got my nutrition on point. I created that inner peace with myself. I stopped chasing temporary pleasures. Stopped running away from my problems, and you know, which was my problem was, my vices was alcohol. I would just I couldn't put the bottle down, man, because I would just be like, whenever a problem in my life, I would just pick it up and just keep going at it and going at it. And I knew that it was going to affect me and my career in the military, and not only in the military, but right here on the civilian side as well. So I
Yeah.
had to drop that, man. And yeah, man, as soon as I hit up my coach, I got coached, I had my transformation, lost fat, build muscle. I created new hobbies along the process, like reading books, um, you know, uh, I mean, like coffee. I drink coffee now. And
Yep.
yeah, man, it just is good because like now when I have a problem my way, I don't crack, I don't fold, and I run off fate now, like not fear, like
Yep.
I just fate, like running off fate is even if I lose this or lose it all, like I'm still gonna stick to the plan. Fear is
Yep.
like what if I lose that? What if this happens? Now I flipped the reverse, I reversed it. I'm running off purpose and fate now.
Yeah. No, absolutely, man. And I went through a program. It was
Hmm.
kind of a group therapy program,
Hmm.
and that was the toughest part for me, was changing the mindset. It wasn't
Yeah.
so much, I could do the physical things, if
Hmm.
I had to stop drinking, or I had to do this, or I had to do that, watch what I ate.
Hmm.
I could do all those things.
Hmm.
But that temper, man, you know,
Yeah.
I it would catch me so fast that I couldn't even think about what I'm about to say, and it was affecting my civilian job. It was affecting me and my family, and that was the worst part. And so, I commend you, man, because it ain't easy. And
Yeah.
on top of that, um, you did this from the reserve component, and
Mhm.
why I say that's harder is because if you were active, you would be taken out of that environment completely and put in a
Yeah.
whole controlled environment. Well, you've now got all the same temptations. You're still living in the same area. The people that you used to hang with are still there. The gangs are still there. When you're not on drill, that temptation to drink and not be military disciplined could easily be there compared to those active components, man. So,
Yeah.
not only did you do it, but you did it the hardest way possible.
Yeah, man. And like I said, that's when the mindset comes in, because like I always tell everybody, man, temptation is always gonna be there. It's never gonna stop coming into your life, it's and that's well with problems. Like the more you want a life, the harder it's gonna get. It's
Yep.
just like the more you ask for it, the more problems gonna get. But it doesn't matter if you're gonna make that problem a speed bump or a brick wall. And that's what it is, man. Like when I first came back here after I finished my initial basic training and initial training, my
Hmm.
MOS school, I came back to everything again. I thought that's why I had to hop on that team and get that coaching because like everything was I took a break, but I came back to the bullshit again.
Yep.
And it was like now I'm like, well, fuck, now I can't run away from it. It's here. I can't run away from the vices. I can't run away from the gangs. I can't run away from this. And I'm like, well, fuck, the minute I changed my perspective and perception, that's when everything changed, man. I started viewing shit positive. I'm like, okay, well, yeah, it's still here, but am I gonna view it as negative or positive? Am I gonna view it as something positive that's gonna make me better or something negative and just let my energy just flow to that? So that's the main thing right there, man, mindset, because it doesn't matter if you have all the money, the success, the cars, whatever you want. If you don't have this on lock, you don't have
Yep.
the proper tools to handle problems, you're going to lose it all.
Yep.
In the split second, like how we talked about now with temper, because just like that, man. If you're running off emotions, emotions are temporary, but the decisions you make are forever. You know,
Yeah.
the
No,
actions
you're
you take
right.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing about that too, you mentioned, by chasing those prized possessions,
Hmm.
I made that same mistake. I wanted
Yeah.
my own business, and when I got out of the military, I started my own trucking company, and then
Hmm. Hell yeah.
money started coming in, and I wasn't just happy anymore just owning a business. I needed to have this. I wanted a diesel truck. I needed a
Hmm.
new semi. I needed this and I needed that. And no matter what I got in my life, I still wasn't happy. There was
Hmm.
nothing happy about the things that I had.
Hmm.
Oh great, it's here, I got it. And then after that, it's back to, well, now I need something bigger. I need something better. And
Yeah.
it took me years to learn that unless you are happy with yourself and you love who you are, you're never going to be pleased. You're never going to be happy because you can't buy what you're chasing. You may not know what it
Yeah.
is, but what it really is inner peace.
Yep.
And
Hell yeah.
I think that's a big part of what a lot of people go through is they don't know how to look for themselves because when
Hmm.
they look in the mirror, they don't like who they see.
Yep.
So
Hell yeah.
you've got to not only change the mindset, but you got to build the confidence and you have to build the purpose. And a lot of them by this time have lost the motivation, so you've
Hmm.
got to rebuild all that stuff.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So let me ask you this. When you get a new client, right, you get a new person that you're going to start coaching.
Hmm.
Where do you start with them?
So, at first when I start with them, I have them fill out this form, like their goals, like, okay, like, do you want to drop weight? Like, is your mindset on point? And like, of course, like, regardless of what it is, I'm going to give each client the same amount of information and tools. And, each kind of comes in, the first thing we do is we get that nutrition on point, because the first thing that you want to do is, get that on point, get that confidence. And like how we talked about, can you look in the mirror and be proud of the man you are?
Yep.
Because once the mind is where it needs to be at and the body is where is where you want it to be at, that's when you create that true inner peace, because you're no longer like trying to find inner happiness, because now you're truly happy with yourself, and you created that that vision of yourself that you truly want. And so we get them shredded, we get them their nutrition on point, so that way they're still eating good, they can do what they want to do, but they got, they're still losing fat and building muscle. And on top of that, every Sunday with my clients, we always give a one-on-one coaching call. We do overlook of the week. All right, how are you doing? How's everything? How are you feeling? How are the workouts? Are you dropping weight? And then from there, we start hitting the mindset. Like they start hitting me with the, oh man, like I feel good, but I feel like giving up. And then that's when we hit them with the mindset, like, hey man, look, and we give them the breakdown, and we just keep going at it, man. And it's a good feeling, because I know what it's like to be on the other side of that screen, because I was once there. I was not yet fully developed in the mind and the body. And
Yeah.
it feels good to share information, because like my coach said, what good is information if you don't share it? you know
Yeah.
like if
Absolutely.
it's no value just you holding it in. You got to spread it out, because you never know who might need to hear that, regardless if it's something so little, so that's why I always, my clients, I'm always on the phone with them every day. I call them, hey man, how you doing? How's everything? Oh, okay, cool, and I always tell them, man, I'm always available 24/7. Like the other day I had a client call me like 2 in the morning. He was like, man, I'm tempted to drink alcohol, man. Like I'm feeding right now, but like I could have not answered. I could have just rolled back to sleep, but
Yeah.
I was like, man, nah, like this guy, signed up with me for a reason. He trusts me, to help him develop himself and create that person that he really wants to be, man. So I'm always there for my clients, regardless of what it is.
Yeah, I think that's important because
Yeah,
without that, you're not going to have the trust. And
yeah,
and I know from the military side of that, once you break that trust, man, it's impossible to get it back.
yeah. That's true,
So
man.
when you're at drill weekend, man, and I know it's a little bit different because the reserve components get that civilian life as well. But
Yeah.
do you find that some of your soldiers are coming up to you to get some of this knowledge and
Oh,
want to learn a little bit more as well?
oh yeah, man. Definitely. Like at the moment, I just got promoted to specialist. But me being a private, if I have a couple of my my battles on my Instagram,
Hmm.
and they see me. I wake up at 3:30 every day in the morning. So by 3:50, by 4 o'clock, I'm 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm doing my push-ups or burpees. So they see
Yep.
all that stuff. Hit the gym at 5, and then I post all my meals, my daily life, and they see all that, and they're like, "Fuck, man! Like, well, like, what are you doing for fun? Like, what the fuck? Like, how are you doing this shit?" And I'm just like, well, man, it's not motivation. Like motivation is creating the life you want to live, and that's what you use as motivation. Creating the life you want to live, and
Yeah.
and you got to run off discipline, man, which is doing what you don't want to do, regardless of how it feels. you know.
Yep.
So they see all that stuff, and then so they end up asking me, hey man, like, how you doing it? Like, how can I get shredded? How can I drop the vices? How can I become the man I never had? Or like become the man I admire? And I give him like little fucking information back to back. Like, hey man, look, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. And I got a couple of them on my program, and it's just we're going on from there, and they see the difference and
Yep.
how it feels to be living a sober life and going after their goals.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part. I wish the military, the active side, would
Yeah.
create this part of a benefit for the soldiers to give them that personal coach,
Oh
because
yeah.
you look up at your leaders, but I know
Mhm.
I had soldiers underneath me.
Mhm.
I was active when I retired, but
Mhm.
I had soldiers underneath me, but I was suffering with PTSD myself,
Of
and
course. Yeah.
I was faking it till I could make it in
Yeah.
front of everybody, and
Of course.
to try to rely on me to help you is going to be
Mhm.
tough because I'm hiding it my damn self. So
Mhm.
I'm not going to be in no mindset to give you good advice. And I think a program like yours would be an amazing benefit because if we could catch some of this mindset before they got out to where they could
Mhm.
deal with the new stresses that are going to come,
Mhm.
I think it would help that transition tremendously.
Oh, of course. Yeah, man. Because I spent a couple of months like like on TDY or like on orders for like schools and on active duty places, and I've seen the environment. A lot of people are out there just drinking and shit. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's the people that actually don't drink, and they're always going after their goals, like training, going to
Right.
schools, and there for their if they have a family, they're there for their family, or going out to like hiking or like something like that. But then there's the other people that they don't really have that blueprint. They don't have that 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 person pushed them to do good, and so that's when people get lost. They're like, all right, man, I'm gonna go to the PX. I'm gonna get a 12 pack, and after they drink that 12 pack, they just go back, get a bottle, and it's just a never ending cycle, man. And that's what I feel a lot of people, especially on active duty, would actually benefit from, creating, that positive, positive habits, because once you take those distractions away, now you're focused your time in the gym, you're working on yourself, you come home, and then now you're building your mindset. You're reading a book, you're listening to a podcast, or you're envisioning your future. You're actually focusing on your goals, and from there it becomes easier, man. Because you kind of have like that little push now onto, okay, now I know where I'm going. Now I know what I'm doing. Now I'm clear thought. I can control my emotions, my thoughts, and I no longer have that little substance in the back of me telling me to do all these evil things or like negative stuff. Get into fights or do all this bad stuff, man.
Yeah, and the big part is control. They would
Yeah.
learn that self-control, and
Mhm.
prevent a lot of the things, just like you said. People don't realize that the it's hard to stop drinking in the military because the
Yeah.
norm is not those people that are doing the right things, like you said. The norm is the guys in the barracks that are, when we're off, we worked hard, we're going to party hard.
Yeah.
And and so it's hard to go against that grain because the military instills that you should look like the guy to your left and the guy to your right. And if those
Yeah.
are the guys that are partying, well, you're going to look like those guys and go party too.
Oh
And so
yeah.
it's tough to break that cycle,
Mhm.
because you're stereotyping what we're supposed to be doing, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, we're warriors, so we need to
Yep.
act like warriors. But what we fail to realize is that doesn't mean that you have to be destroying your body and doing dumb things to be a warrior. You can be sharpening your mind. You can be, training and working on your fitness and all of these types of things to hone in on your skills and at the
Yep.
same time improving your life.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, man, that right there is just people, they see someone doing something, they're like, well, okay, well, I'm gonna do what he's doing because he's above me, he's doing it, so it's okay, right? I just got in the military, this is the first thing I'm seeing. Okay,
Yep.
cool. So people end up it's called soaking up learned behavior. You everything you do since the day you were born, you learned it from somebody. You know,
Yep.
you seen it somewhere or you learned it from somebody close to you. So it's just learned behavior, man. You know, all it takes is one person to lead by example, you know. Like you know, like shit, man, like sometimes people just need that one person right there showing them how it's done, and people be like, well, fuck, man, like fuck, I want to do what he's doing. Look at him, he's ripped, you know, he's doing this, he's in the military, like fuck, man, like, you know, if people were to see that, they're like, okay, well, fuck, man, how'd I do it, you know? What's up?
Yeah.
Like, put me on, you know?
And your story could be, and I'm sure it is impacting the youth in the areas that you're living in. You know,
Oh yeah.
people see that where you came from and how you turned out, and they now see there is a path other than this path. You know,
Yeah.
I,
Fuck
I
yeah,
want to
man.
go back. I want to go back because one thing that I skipped over
Yeah.
is, so when you were in juvenile hall, right? I
Yeah.
am not a fan of our judicial system. I
Uh-huh.
don't believe that we do not instill behavior to get you better. We instill behavior to get you back there to make more money off of you. And
Oh yeah.
I'm a firm believer in that. I seen it with my own eyes, even though it was for really small stuff. But I seen really quick that it wasn't about justice. It was about
Hmm.
making that money machine go. So
Yeah.
juvenile hall, right? At that point, you're still underage. You're considered a minor, and was the juvenile hall is it more like a group home for you, or was it more like a child prison?
So yeah, it's like a child prison, man. So in the juvenile system, you have three options. So it's like county jail, prison, and then you have like your rehab center, like rehabilitation home type stuff. So when you first get locked up, they send you to juvenile hall. You're there for 3 days. If you're on the weekend, then best of luck to you, then because now you're there for 5 days, you know, because the weekends don't count. And then so you know I said like speedy trial, so 3 days, and then you go to court.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, man. Once you get your sentence, either you're going home because sometimes uh they give a lot of minors a slap on the wrist sometimes. If it's your first offense, that's what happens. They give you a slap on the wrist. So either you go home on house arrest, probation, and you know, whatever happens out there, it happens out there. Or they send you, if it's a big case, then you go to CYA, which is called Central Youth Authority. No,
Hmm.
yeah. And so you go there if it's like you're doing like hella time, if you get like adult life or juvenile life, I should say. And then if not, then you get sent to a group home. Like, you know, that's just like a nurse slap on the wrist. Like if you have nowhere to go, then they send you to group home. Um, or camp. Or camp is just like a camp is just something like it's like a watered down version of jail, but it's kind of like, you know, like you said, it's kind of more like a little. They have you doing activities, you know, open bays. It's kind of more relaxed,
Hmm.
but it's still kind of jail though. You don't have a phone, you know, you get a phone call every now and then. There's still fights and everything in there. So where I went when I first got locked up, I got sent to juvenile hall. That's where everybody goes right away. So I was there for, you know, I got there on the weekend, got there on a Friday, so Thursday, so Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday didn't count, and Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday I went to court. Uh, yeah, man. So I was 14. I got caught in a stolen ride, so they gave me a slap on the wrist. Went home on house arrest. You know, whatever. After a month, I got my house arrest ankle taken off, and then yeah, man. You know, I was on probation. A couple months go by, and I'm back in, man. I'm back in, and from there it was just I didn't get out from that sentence for another year, a year and 2 months. So I was there for quite some time. But in there, it's in juvenile hall. It's like you're in a cell by yourself. So it's kind of more, you know, it kind of sucks more because now it's really challenging your mind because you're in the cell for 21 hours in one day. You know, of course they take you off for 1 hour to for 30 minutes, you know, or whatever to go to chow to shower. But it was just more of the time you spend it in your cell by yourself, man. You know, so it was very if you don't control your mind or you're not doing push-ups or reading books, something it's gonna drive you nuts, man. You know, and
Yeah.
I've seen it, man. You know, a lot of people go crazy, start banging on the doors and shit. It's just, you know, just being locked up 21 hours in one day, especially so young. You know, feeling
Yeah.
hopeless. It gets to you, man. You know.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
What I was going to ask is,
Hmm.
any time during this process, did you
Hmm.
see any type of mentor program coaching like what you do? Was there anything like that offered?
Nah, man, not really. The only time that I did see something like that was if you went to school. So like, if you were like behind crates, like if you can like, I guess like raise your hand, be like, hey, can I go to school? And they would take you to school for like 30 minutes, right? And like the teachers there will kind of help you out. They'll be like, hey man, like like they'll give you a little lecture, try to help you out. But at the end of the day, you go back to your cell, you're like, well, fuck, I'm still here, you
Yeah.
know?
So
Yeah,
you see
man. So
30 minutes for somebody to try to help you. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
that's not a mentor program at all.
yeah, man.
They may feel bad and they may want to help, but you know,
Yo.
this is another thing, another reason why I say,
Hmm.
this is the time right there. Our youth is more spongeable.
Yeah.
They learn bad stuff from watching other people, but they can learn good stuff from watching good people as well.
Yep.
And
Hell yeah.
there really needs to be some sort of mentor program that can kind of step in and be that person's role model for them to see the good stuff. And
Oh yeah, of course.
I think that would, it's not going to save all. I mean,
Yeah,
let's just be realistic. You can't have good without bad. There has to be a balance in the world.
of course.
Without that balance, everything goes crazy.
Hmm.
Um, but you could change the lives of some,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
and this is another reason why I say I think it's more about they don't want you to get better. They want you to become back and be a frequent flyer and
Oh yeah.
be part of, especially when they started making it, uh, you know, for profit prisons,
Yeah.
now it's all about the bottom line and improving money. So, and I was afraid you was going to say that. I never had anybody
Yeah.
on the show that could speak. I've had several that were on adult jails, and I already
Yeah.
knew,
Yeah.
there's no hope there. But
Oh yeah.
I was really hoping that at least at the youth age that there was a nonprofit or a government program that was at least trying to provide a positive role.
Yeah. Like I think maybe like if you were in a different like state or county, it'll be different, But I can talk about from LA County,
Yeah,
and that one right there was just it's kind of like no hope. Like you're in there and it's like, okay, man, you're on your own, dog. Like you're serving your time. Like best of wishes to you. Like we'll see you on this date. It's just like
wow, man.
yeah,
And again, that's just another thing to show how you are. I mean, that was just another thing that you overcame because
oh yeah,
I'm sure when you came back out and your friends that you were running with before seeing you back out now it's like, hey, it's time to party. He's back. We can
yeah,
start running again. And you kind of had a little bit of maybe some clout that for what you did, and now that makes it even that much harder because now you became
yeah,
somebody. You're not just another person in the gang. You're now somebody that's done
yeah,
something, and that makes it even harder to leave. And you
yeah, and
still managed to beat that.
yeah, and it's hard, man. Because like the minute you get out, you get like all this how can I say it, like from being 21 hours in a cell to now coming out and you're like, well, fuck, like I'm free, like so now you get this little, especially being young, you're like, I'm free, so now I can do all this shit, like so you kind of like you kind of go out there and go a little bit and you start acting a little bit crazy because
Yeah.
you're like you don't know how to control yourself because now you're out and about, you can do whatever you want, and
Yep.
it's just like that's where people fuck up, and that's where I fucked up, because I didn't have the guidance. I was like, fuck, well, ain't no one gonna see me do this, Then little did I know that, it was all gonna catch up to me at some point, man.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely, man.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
brother, let me bring you forward, and I want you to tell
Mhm.
everybody about how they can find you, where they can find your program. I've had your Instagram running at the
Yes,
bottom,
sir.
but I want to make sure that we get this out because I think it's important that people realize that coaching and stuff like this is a real thing. I mean, there is things that you can learn from other people, whether it be a paid service or whether it be your best friend.
Hmm.
Once we start learning from each other, man, this place would be an amazing world.
Of course, of course. Yeah, man. So you know, my Instagram is at Hard Hit Fit. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, on TikTok or Threads. You know, I'm a mindset and fitness nutrition coach. You know, anyone struggling with anything, you know, mindset, nutrition, you know, I lock them in, man. You know, because at the end of the day, you know, we create the person that you never had in your life, and you know, we bring him out and give it to the world, man. You know.
All right, man. Absolutely, man. Well, if you
Oh
don't
yeah,
mind,
man.
I'm gonna throw you in the green room real quick. Throw the
Yes,
exit
sir.
video up, and I'll be with you in a second. All right.
Yeah,
I,
yes, sir. Sounds good.
thanks for coming
Yes,
on,
sir.
brother.
Yes.
So one thing, you know, I love about this, I always love a positive story. And to hear his story, man, if you can change from something like that, anything is possible. You know, I know there was a lot of times when I was hearing a story, I was thinking back at things that I went through, and I was like, you know, I really didn't go through stuff compared to him. And to see him overcome it makes it better for other people to overcome the stuff that they're going through. Learning about his services, learning about life mindset coaching and physical fitness coaching, all of that stuff ties together. So I want you guys to follow him on his Instagram, show him some love, at least follow. I'm sure he throws a bunch of great content out there for you guys to pick up from. And after you look at it for a while, you may even want to become a client and learn a little bit. So I want y'all to know I love every one of y'all for watching the show. I love what you guys are doing and how you've been helping me. So let's just keep it going. And remember, at the end of the day, don't let the day kick your ass, kick its ass.